Good evening. My name is Sherry Lageman, and I'm the FDOT Project Development Manager, and I would like to welcome you here to tonight's public hearing for State Road 292 Sorrento Road PD&E study. On behalf of FDOT, thank you for your interest in this study and your attendance this evening. Tonight, I'm being supported by Nicole Arendt, the project manager for this PD&E study, representatives of FDOT District 3, as well as our consultant team. This public hearing is being held in person at Point Church, Pensacola, Florida, and virtually through GoToWebinar. I would also like to take a moment to thank any elected officials who are in attendance for tonight's public hearing. We appreciate your interest and involvement in this project. In addition to the PD&E team members here tonight, representatives from the FDOT District 3 Right-of-Way Department are here and will be available after the public hearing if you have questions regarding right-of-way acquisition. A transcript is being made of oral proceedings and will be part of the public record for this project. We will now turn our attention to the narrated presentation.
Good evening. The Florida Department of Transportation would like to welcome you to the public hearing for the State Road 292 Sorrento Road Project Development and Environment, or PD&E study. Financial Project Identification Number 421-011-42201 and Federal Aid Project Number D323111B. In addition to the PD&E team members, here tonight representatives from the FDOT District 3 Right-of-Way Department are here and will be available after the public hearing if you have questions regarding right-of-way acquisition. A transcript is being made of all oral proceedings and will be part of the public record for this project. Before we begin the presentation, I will share a few details to help you participate in this public hearing through GoToWebinar. On your computer or device screen, you should see an information window that looks like the one shown on the right side. To listen to the public hearing, your computer's device speakers are selected by default. If you prefer to listen by phone, select Phone Call in the control panel and dial in using the information provided. All virtual attendees will be placed in listen-only mode for the duration of the public hearing. At a later date, we will provide responses to written comments that were submitted during online registration and those comments submitted at the in-person event. The comment period begins as soon as the presentation has ended. Verbal comments from in-person attendees will be addressed first, followed by verbal comments from virtual attendees. If you are not hearing the audio at this time, please check your computer speaker settings. If you are experiencing technical difficulties, please contact technical support at anna.linehan@atkinsrealis.com. In the event of technical difficulties during the public hearing, please stay online while we work to resolve the issue. If you dialed into the public hearing by telephone, your phone was automatically placed in listen-only mode and will remain in listen-only mode throughout the public hearing. Those attending in person and virtually may make a public comment when called upon. A recording of the webinar will be available on the project website 3 days after the public hearing. You can also call or email the project manager after the public hearing to request additional project information. All comments must be submitted or postmarked by Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, to become part of the official public hearing record. Prior to the public hearing, draft engineering and environmental documents were made available for public review at the Southwest Branch Public Library, located at 12248 Gulf Beach Highway in Pensacola since Thursday, September 25th, 2025, and will continue to be available at this location until Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. The Southwest Branch Public Library is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. The draft engineering and environmental documents were also made available at the project website www.nwflroads.com/calendar and will continue to be available at the project website after this hearing. You may also view project documents tonight at the in-person public hearing. This environmental study has been conducted by FDOT District 3 in compliance with all applicable federal environmental laws and pursuant to 23 U.S. Code 327 and the Memorandum of Understanding between the Florida Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration, signed on May 26, 2022. The FDOT Office of Environmental Management in Tallahassee is the approving authority. This public hearing was advertised in the Pensacola News-Journal, the Florida Administrative Register, and was noticed consistent with federal and state requirements as shown on the slide. The Florida Department of Transportation complies with various non-discrimination laws and regulations, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Public participation at this hearing is encouraged and solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Persons wishing to express concerns about Title VI may do so by contacting either the FDOT District 3 office in Shipley or the FDOT Central Office in Tallahassee. The contact information is displayed on the screen, at the sign-in table at this public hearing, and in the project handout. The purpose of this public hearing is to share information with the general public about the proposed improvements, the conceptual design, all alternatives under consideration, and the potential benefits and disadvantages pertaining to social, economic, and environmental impacts upon the community. The public hearing also serves as an official forum, providing an opportunity for members of the public to express their opinions regarding the project. This study satisfies the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA, and other policies, regulations, and procedures. The PD&E process is used to evaluate potential impacts to determine an alternative utilizing a continuous community outreach process to ensure all interested parties have meaningful participation in the process. Public input and information received at the public hearing will be taken into consideration when preparing the final documents for this study. A virtual project update was held on November 5th, 2024. Following this public hearing, FDOT will finalize the study documents and conclude the study in early 2026. The design, right-of-way, and construction phases are currently unfunded in the FDOT's current 5-year work program. There are 3 primary components to tonight's public hearing. First, the open house, which occurred prior to this presentation, where you were invited to view the project displays, speak directly to the project team, and provide your comments in writing or to the court reporter. Second, this presentation, which will explain the project's purpose and need, study alternatives, potential impacts, both adverse and beneficial, and proposed methods to mitigate adverse project impacts. Third, a formal comment period following this presentation where you will have the opportunity to provide verbal statements or, for those at the in-person location, may provide your comments directly to the court reporter or in writing. FDOT is evaluating conceptual improvements on Sorrento Road from Inner Rarity Point Road to State Road 173, Blue Angel Parkway, a distance of approximately 5.6 miles. Sorrento Road is a designated emergency evacuation route by the Florida Division of Emergency Management. The limits of the project are shown in red. Throughout the limits of this study, Sorrento Road is designated as an urban principal arterial. As defined by the FDOT, the context classifications of the project are C3, suburban commercial, C2, rural, and C3, suburban residential. The existing Sorrento Road facility is a two-lane undivided facility. Within the PD&E study limits, the existing right-of-way is generally 100 feet wide. The proposed 4 lanes will provide two 11-foot travel lanes in each direction with a 22-foot median. To accomplish the proposed improvements, right-of-way will need to be acquired for the preferred alternative. Sections of the roadway will be raised to meet base clearance above the seasonal high water table. There is one bridge culvert identified at Bayou Garcon that will be replaced by twin bridges. A PD&E study is the first stage in FDOT's transportation development process. The PD&E study develops and compares alternatives to determine a preferred action that meets project goals while minimizing impacts to the social, natural, cultural, and physical environments. Engaging the public by sharing and receiving information is a key component of this process and is required by NEPA. The purpose of this project is to address existing and future vehicular capacity issues, safety issues, and transportation demand on Sorrento Road. Enhancing these facilities will help to provide additional capacity and mobility on this important east-west route in western Escambia County. Currently, Sorrento Road operates at a level of service of C during the morning peak hours and level of service of D in the evening peak hours, and capacity is forecasted to deteriorate through the year 2045. This project is needed to increase capacity for current and future traffic and to mitigate existing safety issues. This project is also needed to support the transportation demand due to growth consistent with Escambia County's growth management policies and proposed development documented in the Escambia County Optional Sector Plan. This project is identified in the Needs Plan and Cost Feasible Plan of the Florida-Alabama Transportation Planning Organization's 2045 Long Range Transportation Plan to provide 4 lanes of capacity on Sorrento Road from Inner Rarity Point Road to State Road 173, Blue Angel Parkway. The project is listed in the current State Transportation Improvement Program for the PD&E phase only. Sorrento Road from Inner Rarity Point Road to Bayou Garcon is currently a 2-lane undivided roadway with 5-foot paved shoulders and 11-foot travel lanes in each direction. The proposed widening of Sorrento Road will be accomplished by reconstructing the roadway to include 2 11-foot travel lanes in each direction separated by a raised 22-foot grass median. Curb and gutter will be added along both the inside and outside lanes of the roadway. Additionally, a 6-foot sidewalk will be added to the westbound side and a 10-foot sidewalk will be added to the eastbound side at the back of curb. Sorrento Road at Bayou Garcon is currently a 2-lane undivided roadway with 5-foot paved shoulders and 11-foot travel lanes atop a triple box culvert that has guardrail at the headwalls. The existing culvert will be removed and replaced with twin bridges. The westbound bridge will carry 2 11-foot travel lanes and a 6-foot raised sidewalk. The eastbound bridge will also carry 2 11-foot travel lanes and a 12-foot shared use path protected by a traffic barrier. Sorrento Road east of Bayou Garcon to Bower Road, County Road 293, is currently a 2-lane undivided roadway with 5-foot paved shoulders and 12-foot travel lanes. Just before Bower Road, this changes and there are no paved shoulders continuing to State Road 173, Blue Angel Parkway. The proposed widening will be accomplished by reconstructing the roadway to include two 11-foot travel lanes in each direction, separated by a raised 22-foot grass median. Curb and gutter will be added along both the inside and outside lanes of the roadway. A 6-foot sidewalk will be constructed 4 feet from the curb and gutter on the westbound side. A 12-foot shared use path will be constructed on the eastbound side 4 feet from the right-of-way. In areas where right-of-way is limited, or to avoid impacts to utilities, businesses, residences, and wetlands, the 12-foot shared use path and 6-foot sidewalk will be moved closer to the roadway. This study segment of Sorrento Road is classified with 2 access management classifications. Currently, Sorrento Road is designated as Access Classification 6 from the west end of the corridor to Doug Ford Drive, and Access Classification 4 from Doug Ford Drive to the east end of the corridor. The proposed access classifications are as follows. From the west end of the corridor to the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center, the classification is proposed to be Access Classification 5, and from the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center to the east end of the corridor is proposed to be Access Classification 3. The table on this slide shows the differences between connections, directional median spacing, and full median or signal spacing between the various access classifications. The proposed median opening access types are shown on the preliminary conceptual plans on display at the in-person event and online. This public hearing meets the requirements of this proposed access classification change. An important element of this PD&E study is to evaluate the potential project impacts and benefits. A wide range of environmental effects were evaluated, including various social, cultural, natural, and physical features, and documented in the environmental document. Engineering and traffic factors were also considered. The resources listed are discussed further in the slides that follow. A comparison of the impacts for the preferred alternative are provided in project documents. The anticipated social and economic effects for the preferred alternative includes the potential need to acquire approximately 47.4 acres of additional right-of-way for both the roadway widening and off-site stormwater ponds. This additional right-of-way involves 144 parcels. No adverse or disproportionate impacts were found to affect low-income, minority, or protected population groups. One of the unavoidable consequences of a project such as this is the relocation of residential or commercial properties. For this project, we anticipate the relocation of one business and no residential relocation. The concept plans show the areas of proposed right-of-way acquisition and this one relocation. All right-of-way acquisition will be conducted in accordance with Florida Statute 339.09 and the Federal Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970, commonly known as the Uniform Act. If you are required to make any type of move as a result of a Department of Transportation project, you can expect to be treated in a fair and helpful manner and in compliance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance Act. If a move is required, you will be contacted by an appraiser who will inspect your property. We encourage you to be present during the inspection and provide information about the value of your property. You may also be eligible for relocation advisory services and payment benefits. If you are required to move and you are unsatisfied with the department's determination of your eligibility for payment or the amount of that payment, you may appeal that determination. You will be promptly furnished necessary forms and notified of the procedures to be followed in making that appeal. A special word of caution: if you move before you receive notification of the relocation benefits that you might be entitled to, your benefits may be jeopardized. The right-of-way specialist supervising this program is here tonight and available to answer your questions. Please stand so that anyone involved in relocation on this project will know they need to see you regarding their property. You may also visit the website shown on the slide for more information. Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act requires agencies to consider the effects of their actions on cultural resources. 4 historic sites were identified, all of which are newly recorded, but none of the sites are eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act of 1966 applies to transportation projects in Florida that use publicly owned parks, historic sites, and wildlife refuges. The goal of Section 4F is to preserve the natural beauty of these areas. Recreational resources identified in the study area include Big Lagoon State Park and Garcon Bayou Nature Park with no identified impacts. Other Section 4F resources identified were Tarkiln Bayou Preserve State Park and Bars Athletic Field. As part of the project development process, and in accordance with Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act of 1966, the FDOT has identified that the Tarkiln Bayou Preserve State Park and Bars Athletic Field are Section 4F protected properties and is seeking comments from the public concerning the potential effects on the activities, features, and attributes that may result from the proposed widening of Sorrento Road. Following the public comment period, and in consideration of any input received, the FDOT intends to pursue a de minimis impact determination on the resources. The anticipated natural resource effects for the build alternative includes 38.64 acres of wetland impacts. 7 species within the study limits that are federally or state protected have been identified with a determination of may affect, not likely to adversely affect. Effects to the physical environment were evaluated as a result of the proposed improvements. 11 of the evaluated 62 noise receptors are predicted to meet or exceed the noise abatement criteria and are considered impacted. 1 noise barrier is anticipated to be installed as part of this project. The location is shown on the concept plans. Additional engineering feasibility will be required during the design phase. Within the project limits, 25 potential contamination sites were identified and ranked from low to medium to high risk. Additional review of these sites will be conducted during the final design phase. There are 10 utilities located within the project limits. Impacts to the utilities are anticipated and will be determined during the final design phase. The no-build or do-nothing alternative is also considered a viable alternative and will remain so for the duration of the study. Under this alternative, no improvements, except routine maintenance, would be made to Sorrento Road within the project corridor. This evaluation matrix represents the right-of-way acquisition requirements and the environmental impacts of the no-build and build alternative. The no-build alternative would have no costs associated with design or construction of the project, and there would be no disruption due to congestion. The no-build alternative would result in increased traffic congestion, user costs, and travel times. Under the build alternative, there are no significant impacts to social, natural, physical, or cultural resources. The preliminary cost of the project, including design, right-of-way acquisition, and construction phases, is approximately $282.4 million in today's dollars. The no-build alternative has $0 in associated costs. This concludes the formal presentation. FDOT is seeking comments from the public concerning the potential effects on the activities, features, and attributes that may result from the widening of Sorrento Road. After the comment period has closed and your input has been considered, a decision will be made and the final PD&E document will be sent to the FDOT Office of Environmental Management, which, based on the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the Federal Highway Administration on May 26, 2022, has approval authority on this project, granting location and design concept acceptance. There are multiple ways to provide your comments tonight, written or verbally. If you do not wish to speak at the microphone, you may provide your comments in writing or directly to the court reporter at the comment table. Every comment method carries equal weight. You will not be on camera at any time while providing public comment. Verbal comments from the in-person attendees will be addressed first. Then, verbal comments from the virtual attendees will be addressed second. All comments must be submitted or postmarked by Sunday, November 2nd to become part of the official record. The comment period will be led by tonight's moderator, Ms. Sherry Alagamond.
For the comment segment, we'll incorporate your input from this public hearing into our decision-making process. During this time, you will have the opportunity to provide verbal statements, provide comments in writing, or for those of you here at the in-person event, you may provide comments directly to the court reporter. We will not be able to respond to questions or comments during this segment, but will respond in writing following the public hearing. We will now call upon the in-person participants who have requested to speak. If you would like to speak and have not yet completed and turned in a speaker card, please raise your hand now and we will get you one. As I call your name, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address before making your comments so the court reporter can document that information. If you represent an organization, municipality, or other public body, please provide that information as well. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. The first person requesting to make a public statement is Mr. Larry Downs.
Over here or over there?
Over there.
Larry Downs Jr. Plumbing LLC, because fecal matters. All right, let's move it. Hey, I'm in agreement with this. You know, there's no way to stop growth, so we might as well prepare. This is part of this is what our government should be doing, is infrastructure, roads, and bridges. You know, I'm hoping we can move. I'm hoping somebody will fund this with all the money we pay our government. Maybe we could use some of it for, you know, for something that's needed. So I'm hoping all of y'all are in favor of it. I'm hoping everybody is. And to anybody, do I need to say my address?
Yes, please.
I can't remain anonymous?
Your name and address, yes.
12156 Hadberg Drive. That's my home address. And then here in Pensacola on this side. And then my plumbing address is 11100 Sorrento Road. So I know I'm going to give up some property, and I'm willing to do so. We need to do whatever we need to do to, you know, to make traffic move better, so that we can all, you know, be able to get to our, not only our businesses, our homes, our friends, our family that live in our community. So one more thing too, I'm going to be running for District 1 County Commissioner seat as a Libertarian. So I know it's a uphill battle, but if y'all looking for somebody crazy to show y'all, I'm your man.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Wayne Taylor.
I am the property manager of Sorrento Rd, which is located at 3600 Nighthawk Lane. We're at the corner of Nighthawk Lane and Sorrento Road, and we happen to be one of the few businesses affected by this project. And so I represent the owners of this, the Lorentz, because they couldn't be here tonight, and they wanted me to share this information with you. The only part of this project which we object to affects from Bower Road to the entrance to Pleasant Grove Elementary School, because that's where we're located, where the very few businesses are located. It's like 99% forested. And the only part that we don't like is the part where you're taking the extra right-of-way for that 40-foot eastbound side, where you've got a 25-foot grass area, and a 12-foot multi-use sidewalk. We feel like that's a total waste of taxpayer money. Could be condensed to just a sidewalk on both sides of the road, or even just 6-foot bike lanes. As an example, Blue Angel Parkway south of Sorrento is a perfect example of that. It works just fine with just the bike lanes and no sidewalks. Because this extra right-of-way you need, we've already been informed, it would take about 15 to 20 feet of our property, which is now revenue-producing parking spaces. And so this is the only part that we would like to object to, and we feel like you could save a lot of money on this project by eliminating this eastbound typical section between Bower Road and the entrance to Pleasant Grove Elementary School. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker is Peterson Judd. Preston Judd. Preston.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and any that I don't recognize. I live over at 4041 Shorewood Drive, which is right up the road here, right close to the park that I enjoy. Can you hear me? That I enjoy recreating at. I'm an author, an entrepreneur, and I've nothing better than I like at the end of the day than hopping on my beach cruiser and sliding through the park over there and just letting the stress of the day go. I was here from, just a little history, I was here from 15 and 19 serving over at the air station in aviation. We had a Marine lose his life on this road. Sorry, the emotions there still. So I really appreciate FDOT. I want to give you a huge shout out for taking the initiative to take one of our more dangerous roads off the market, so to speak, in this area. I really appreciate that. I appreciate it more personally because, like I said, I like to ride around. I like the local area. I like the rideability. This is right up that avenue, which they are already doing down in downtown Pensacola. There's a lot of revitalization that's happening in this area, and I love seeing it because in 15 and 19, I didn't want to go out on the roads. I valued my life. So that being said, like I said, I appreciate FDOT for taking the lead on this. I will be running for District 2 Florida House. If you see my name out there, these are the items that I will be going to bat for because it makes our community better, it makes it safer, and it makes it more enjoyable. Thank you for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your comment. And our next speaker is Tony Tampey. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
My name is Tony Tampey. I am currently assigned over this area by Sheriff Simmons, and I'm also a lifelong resident of this area. Everything I've seen over here is encouraging to me personally. I have one question. I'm sure you can't answer it. I've heard the rules, but at least at some point there could be. The stretches between Bower and Blue Angel and even Bower back towards Doug Ford, these are going to be divided highways from what the plan looks like. I just didn't see where there might be any turnaround areas, you know, for businesses that they're going to have to come out and take a right turn and that's it and go down to the intersection and come back. You know, there might be a thought to put something like that within those areas, a couple of them, one or two, just so that there's an area to be cut throughs and turnarounds before you have to go to the intersection. That's my comment.
Thank you for your comment. And our next speaker is Jamie Zika Farber. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
So, can you hear me okay? Okay, so my name is Jamie Zika Farber. I'm a lifelong resident of Escambia County. I hail from the Warrington area, so I'm very proud of it. I've lived on Inverarity Island either with my father when he bought in 87 or 88 on Inverarity Island. My husband and I bought our own home, not his home, our own property built, and we've even expanded since then. My father used to work at a precinct 2. And he also was a deputy for 33 years, just giving you background. So I care very, very deeply. And again, about this area, I was married in this particular building right here 26 years ago, and happily married. We, yay. No, like for real, yay. It's not perfect, but it's as good as you can get. And so we've also had, through my husband, have had the benefits since 1999. When we got married, we built our first home off of Gulf Breeze Avenue. From there, we moved to Atlanta. Then we've back and forth. We've gone to California twice, back and forth. Recently is 2020, because 2020 was COVID. We were waiting for our son to graduate high school. And I moved my whole home out there, because we'd already sold our home out there, within 11 days to get back to Pensacola, Florida, because my house was still on Inverarity Island. So anyways, I encourage this needs to be done. It has to be done. It is it's deadly. It's like playing, a jockey, and I'm a darn good driver because I was taught by the best, my father, and meaning we need this. I'm tired of seeing people go from Walmart or Target going to Stoddard Place walking and have their wheelchair. It's sad. And people go, oh, we'll just get an Uber. People can't afford that. There should have already been, before that structure has been there, had been the road layouts or sidewalks to be there for these people, because it's disgusting. These people, their lives like you and me, our lives can change in a matter of a dime. And for people that have crashed along Sorrento Road, I've been one of the ones to get out to help. And it's not something you want to see. I've also been a volunteer firefighter for Bellevue when I lived up there before we built in 2005 out here. So anyways, my point is just encourage, please write your letters. Encourage people to, and I'm sorry for businesses that are affected, but my business, Blue Angel Laundry, used to be, I sold it in 2013 because we moved back to California. It was off of 98 behind Sherwin-Williams. My business suffered because it was my choice. It's fine. I was 31 years old. And I'm like, I'm going to get a laundromat. It was a closed down laundromat. Anyways, it was great. But my signage, and I know I got to go. So my point is, please, for the love of goodness, vote. Don't go against it. And again, my point was, I'm sorry to the Nighthawk, the storage unit. I'm familiar with that road. I'm familiar with your business, sir. I'm sorry, but some of us, that's one business, and I'm sorry. They've got to do what they got to do. This is wonderful. So please, I beg of you, peace.
Thank you for your comments. That was the last of the speaker cards. Is there anyone else in person who would like to make a statement that needs a speaker card? Please. Okay. So we have one person that would like to also have a speaker card and speak.
Good evening. I really realize that we do have to do this on our road. It is a dangerous stretch. The only thing that I can see is that maybe we should rethink the easements. It seems like there's an extreme amount of wasted space and probably expense along with it. I believe we need at least one side of the road to have either maybe a beach, a bike path that can be used as a walkway as well. But to have it on both sides seems a little bit excessive to me. That's just my thinking. But I really think we need to do this. Our Sorrento Road is really a problem. Thank you. My name is Fran Opitz, and I live at 7 Arapahoe. drive.
Thank you so much for your comment. At this time, we're going to turn it over to our online moderator, Anna, who will now call upon our virtual attendees who requested to speak at registration.
Thank you, Sherry. For those wishing to offer public comments virtually, I will call your name and then I will unmute you. Please make sure you also unmute your microphone on your end using the GoToWebinar control panel as shown on this slide. When it is your turn to speak, please state your name and address before making your comment. If you represent an organization, municipality, or other public body, please provide that information as well. Again, before you speak, make sure you are not self-muted. Click the microphone to make it green. If you did not ask to speak when you registered for the hearing but would like to do so now, please use the raise your hand feature, and I will call on you once we have heard from those who have previously registered. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes before you speak. Make sure you are not self-muted, which you can do again by clicking the microphone icon in the control panel. The first person requesting to make a public statement is Gio Orangio. I'll unmute you now. One more call for Gio Orangio. Remember to press your self-mute button so it turns green and you're able to make your comment.
Yes, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My name is Gio Orangio. I live on Alvin Drive, which is down Gulf Beach Highway, a few miles from Inter Point intersection. My only comment is, given the increase in lanes, I suspect that the speed limit will be increased. And there's been many comments about the speed that's exhibited on Sorrento Road. And I caution everybody to be aware and the designers to possibly take that into effect. In addition, I agree with the gentleman whose business is going to be impacted by the extra right-of-way for the eastbound side. It does seem excessive to me when you have one side of a sidewalk already, another side with a double wide sidewalk plus the extra buffer and all for a road that goes through not much population area really is unnecessary. I wonder also what the crosswalks will be like, you know, how controlled the crosswalks will be through this area, which I think will have a lot of impact on the safety of everybody through there. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for your comment. The next person registered to make a public statement is Ike Merriman.
Everybody hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Excellent. So, Ike Merriman, I've got a couple of properties. One's down near Inner 0 Morella Street. I'm in agreement with quite a few people there with a few of the things. I believe probably don't need to have both sides of the paths available. Maybe we could, make one side maybe a little bit extra big. I'm all about biking. I'm an avid biker. I've been almost hit by cars more than I can think. And I do sometimes travel that direction. So I would love to see some kind of bike path that would be safe for people. Sometimes it's not so great when you have to share a bike path with people that walk dogs and such, but I'm sure we'll try to work it out. I hate that it does affect, a business overall. I do agree with, I believe Tony was saying about the turnarounds. I'm not sure the overall plans, but if there could be some turnarounds built in so that people don't and businesses don't have to go all the way down in one direction to turn around. Plus, it'd probably be also useful for all of the law enforcement officers in case they need to go get an emergency vehicle somewhere. They don't have to go all the way down to the end. But I definitely agree and where the taxpayer money is potentially going for use on this. We've been needing something like this for quite a while. I've been in the area off and on through the military since 1997. We moved back here kind of to the area back in 2010. So we'd love to see this area developed. I think that'd be great for people that are very active. I think it'd be a lot safer for people as well, widening the roads. Maybe I heard the comments about the speed limits. Maybe keep the speed limits, similar to what they are in places, just to keep the accidents down. But overall, definitely a plus, and appreciate all the work there through the FDOT and the locals here, and bringing this up for everybody to get a chance to vote on or to talk about. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments. The next person registered to make a public statement is listed under Amanda or Neil Rideout. I do not see this name listed as attendees, so if Amanda or Neil Rideout are in attendance under a different name, please raise your hand and I will call on you for comment. We have one hand raised for a comment. Mary Catherine Winters, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I accidentally typed my question and didn't know I was going to be speaking, but I was wondering if any lights were going to be added to the improvements. And I also wanted to say that I agree that we don't need both sides with pedestrian and bike lanes. One side would be good enough, and I agree that we need several turnarounds on the stretch.
Perfect. Thank you for your comments, and they will follow up with the questions with answers.
You're welcome. Thank you.
At this time, if there is anybody want a virtual comment, please raise your hand now. Okay, this concludes the virtual public comments. I'm going to hand it back to you, Sherry.
Thank you, Anna. This concludes the public comment period. I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to share your comments concerning the Sorrento Rd PD&E study. You may continue to submit your written comments after tonight's public hearing using the contact information provided in the handout or by visiting nordwestfloridaroads.com. Comments must be postmarked or emailed by Sunday, November 2nd to become part of the official public record. Additionally, the recording of this meeting will be available on the project website 3 days following this public hearing. You can also call or email me, the FDOT Project Development Manager, or Nicole Arendt, the Project Manager, to request additional information. Thank you for attending the public hearing and providing your input on the project. I hereby officially close the public hearing at 6:49 p.m. Have a good evening and please drive safely.